And now it's recording. Okay. If you can't remember the code, it'll be in the top left corner of my screen. It's right here. And it's called Nearpod, is the program, the website that we use. I see that 13 of you have logged in. And so we'll give you another 2 minutes and then you can log in. The code will always be in the top left there, JAIOT. Another program that's similar to it is called Pear Deck. That is, the state of Utah has not purchased that. So if you sign up for that, it has only the free account. This will, this gives you more options with it. So. Let's see. Okay, we're also, if you have questions, you can use the chat. So we're at 35. I have 5 more spots for people to join in if you want to. Okay. This is Teaching with Technology. We're going to talk about engagement in the classroom with technology more than we'll talk about the online learning piece. And so we've had sessions on Canvas. We've had sessions on using we've had on using your iPad. We've had lots of great sessions, and so this one's going to be more about using technology in your classroom and how to get engagement with that. So those 40 people that are on, if you could, with your mouse or however you're on, draw a picture of what your face looks like when somebody comes in and says, I want you to use technology in your classroom. And then I'll share it with people. So you can see on your screen that we have happy faces. This person's smiling from eyebrow to ear. This person is really excited, a full teeth smile. Those ones are hard to get and so big that their eyes are closed. Here we have someone who I'm guessing is saying, oh. We have a smile with no eyes. So they can't see themselves using technology, I'm guessing, is what it is. So. Clark, that actually looks like Michael more than it looks like you. But that's a great picture. So this is one of the features of Nearpod, so I can interact and then I can also save all of these. And so here's an excited person whose eyes move over to the side of their head when they get so excited about using technology. So technology is a great thing. I think we have a wide range of people. As I scroll down and look at the rest of them, I see some with not sure faces, some with excited faces, and that's okay. Like, technology is a great thing, and technology can sometimes be scary. I have changed my expectations, but I forgot to change the slide. So the first thing is, when we're online, if everybody could mute their mic, which I muted everybody. So you don't have to turn on your video. I've done these when I originally thought I was going to do this. I thought that 10 people would show up, not 80 people would show up. So with 10 people, it's better to have the video on. With 40 people or 80 people, we don't need the video on. But be engaged. So I'll ask you questions. I'm sitting right next to a printer, so you can hear that printing. But there's the chat that you can go to. I will answer those questions as soon as I can. And then the chat, and then at the end, fill out the reflection so you can get paid. So if it hasn't been explained clearly to you in the Canvas course, you need to fill out 4 reflections, 1 for the keynote and 3 for the others. You'll get paid $25 for each reflection that you fill out. So that's how we're going to do that. This is me. This is a wide angle or a skinny. It makes me look wide, I think. But that's me. That's my daughter. But I'm the new educational technology coordinator. My job is getting redefined every day. And so my main job is to help you understand how to use technology. So if you have questions on how to use technology, please contact me. If you have questions on my computer's not working, or I need this device in my classroom, that's not me. My job is, if you want to figure out how to use Nearpod better in your classroom, let me know. If you want to know how to better use Chromebooks in your classroom, that's my job. And then if you have a curriculum that's online, so like our math book, and most of our curriculums are online, that's my job, is to help you understand how to use those things. If you need to email me, go ahead and email me, and I will do my best to help you understand. I'm also really creative. I made those shirts. I know that they don't look homemade, and so that's me. So here's my 3 goals. 1 is to understand what engagement with technology looks like, to lower your stress about using technology, and then know some of the technology that you can use. The technology I'm going to share with you that you can use is not all. There's lots of other things. But one problem that I always see is that there are 10 programs that'll do the same thing. And so if you say, oh, I want to use this, and I use this, then I can kind of show you things. Let's see, somebody asked me, is Nearpod only for live things? So Nearpod that I'm using, you can set this up as live like we're doing, or you can set it up where the students can go in and interact with the slides themselves. How do I use technology when not all classrooms have access to it? So this is a tricky one, because it's a lot of classrooms have access to technology, maybe not one-on-one. I just got finished writing a grant for our district that over the next 5 years, our goal is that every student is one-to-one. It was over $500,000 a year that we get. And so our goal is to make it so that each year we expand which group is one-to-one. And so we should have enough money by the end of the 5 years that everybody in the district is a one-to-one with a Chromebook. And so I'm going to show you some of these things. Some of these things you can use all the time, and some of these things you could use occasionally. Hopefully in the future, you can use them all of the time. So, and then, yeah. So this says all classes get technology, meaning, for example, both sides of DLI. Every student has a device in their hands, is what this means. And so however, Katie's question was for DLI, however the school sets it up, but every kid will have a device in their hands. If you're nothing without the suit, this is Tony Stark talking to Peter Parker. If you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it. If your lesson is the same as it would be without technology, then don't use technology. A worksheet is a worksheet. So we're going to talk about engagement. Oh, I got some papers for you.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you do your presentation in the copy room. So engagement. When we're in a, okay. So those 40 people who are on, your screen should pop up and you can type in things. But in a blended classroom means that you're using technology in your classroom. So maybe it's 1-to-1 or 1-to-5, but you have technology in your classroom. What does engagement look like and sound like in that classroom? So you've got some technology. If you are not one of the 40 people who are in Nearpod, if you just want to type it in the chat, that would be great also, so that we can all see what you're chatting about. Lots of sharing, lots of feedback. Students are on task and actively participating. We're going to talk about what actively participating looks like. Multi-methods of presenting the information. If you had an opportunity to listen to John Landis this morning, one of my favorite things that he said, this is like the 4th time I've heard his presentation, and it's great. I love it. One of the things that he said is that if you present a question that a kid can cheat on, we're asking the question the wrong way. And so students are discussing, typing, focused. They're sharing with others. They're learning. Kids are excited. Everyone talking and listening. Students are excited. Now, honestly, this should be in every classroom, whether you're using technology or not. Kids should be discussing things. They should be excited about things. The other nice thing about this chat, and some of you may have not, actually some of you do know, if you hit that little heart next to on it, then you can like other people's comments. And so if you're doing this in a classroom, students can like one another's. I have the opportunity to delete some of them if I don't like what it is. When I turn it on, I have the opportunity to approve everybody's comments before. So that's just another feature. Communication between students and teachers. And that is huge. We've got to have communication. Going to be hard with discussions and COVID. That is a little tricky thing that we have to work towards. But there's a lot of things. And the thing that I like is that we have sharing. We don't have what it looks like is silently typing in front of a computer. So here's the next discussion board we're going to do. It's the same type of thing. What does student engagement in a blended classroom with computers not look like? If you haven't joined the Nearpod course, I can only have 40 people in there. I didn't know that because we don't have the deluxe version yet. And so if you're not in there yet, then you can't get in there right now. Zoned Out Kids all text. That is what it does not look like. Yeah, sleeping students and teacher. Yeah, I've seen sometimes where it's like, and I may have done this, okay, get on your computers and do this thing, and you never see the teacher move. Students distracted by other parts of technology. We have a great program, if you don't know about it, it's called GoGuardian. And with GoGuardian, you can restrict the websites that they can go onto for a session. You can record the session so that you can see where everybody's at. You can see it on your screen where everybody's at. And so, yeah, not letting them get distracted. Erica, thanks for putting Cool Math on there, because as a math teacher for such a long time, that is not what engagement looks like. If you're trying to get them engaged in curriculum, Cool Math is not the website. Teacher lectures, yeah. doing their own thing. Okay, I like this one that Jessica put on here of a kid looking frustrated, because we shouldn't have them frustrated. There's a difference between challenging them and frustrating them. So let's see. Blankly staring at screens. Yes. Quiet, unfocused students. That is what it is not. And then the teacher, thanks Robin, the teacher zoned out. That is what it is not. Okay. Open up millions of tabs. Yep. Once again, GoGuardian can take care of the tabs, and you can say you can only have 3 tabs open, or whatever, however you want to do that. How does GoGuardian work on a Chromebook cart that are shared? So what happens is in GoGuardian, and I'll just quickly go through it because there's other trainings that you can take on GoGuardian, but in GoGuardian, you say, I want my class, and that doesn't matter if you're elementary and it's your whole class, or you're secondary and it's like your 4th hour class. I want my 4th hour class. This is the session I'm going to be on. And then when they log in into the Chromebook with their unique username and password, it will restrict them to your class. And so that's how it works with shared Chromebooks. It's not, GoGuardian is not specific to, oh, this Chromebook can only do this, but GoGuardian is specific to students. So when they log in, here's what they can do. GoGuardian is really user-friendly. I figured it out by playing around with it, and I don't even have a class. So how and when can we get trained on GoGuardian? I will set that up for you and get a training out to you. I would like to say shortly, but my thing of to-do list keeps getting longer and longer and longer. But we do need to have that training on it. Oh, Julie says she loves using GoGuardian. Yeah, it records your session. Yes. So, but yes, this is what it does not look like. Engagement is more than just quietly sitting. It's answering questions in many different ways. A quiet classroom is rarely an engaged classroom. Now, when I started teaching, I have a friend that started teaching about the same time I did, and he was doing some student teaching and went into a class, and one of the secretaries said, oh, you should go work in this class because it is such a well-run class. And these students were silent. They did not say a word. They sat there, they looked attentive. And him in his first year of his student teaching came out and he said, Dave, these kids aren't learning anything. They're sitting there quietly, but they're not learning anything. It was a Spanish class. And so back when I started teaching, it looked like a quiet classroom was a engaged classroom, but that's not the case. I was working with a principal at one school, and they said, I want you to track questioning and how many kids respond. And so I went into one classroom, and in a 15-minute period, a teacher asked 85 questions and had 110 responses to those 85 questions. And so when you look at it at first, you're like, this is amazing, 110 responses. But if you divide that 110 divided by 85, that's really, there were 3 kids that were answering the questions. I went into another classroom, they asked 15 questions in 15 minutes, and they had over 500 responses, meaning every kid was responding to the answer. Every kid had, so that's what engagement looks like. Engagement and face-to-face. This is what we're used to. We have went to 4 years of college to learn how to interact face-to-face. So we learned the thumbs up, thumbs down, show me by show of hands how many people got this or whatever. Show me on your hands the answer, these different things. And so we know how to do this in face-to-face. And I think a lot of us do a really good job having the students engage in face-to-face. In online engagement, this girl on the top, you can see that she's not even looking at her computer. She was learning something on her computer. She moved away from her computer, or is focusing on something else away from her computer, and then she's going to go back and answer. Okay, online engagement is not just staring at a screen. And so Online engagement is we're learning, we're interacting with something, and we're learning. Engagement in a blended classroom, in all of these, the student or the teacher is interacting with the students. Now, in our case, they'll probably be wearing a mask, but they're interacting with these students. And you can see, like in this top right, one student has a computer and the rest are working together. It's not a realistic goal for next year that every student has a computer in their hands every time you're doing it. And so, but like you guys said, engagement in a blended classroom is not a teacher sitting at their computer. It's not kids just quietly clicking away. What it is them interacting, them talking, them doing different activities together. Okay, so lower your stress about using technology. There's a video, and right now on my screen it says, where would you like this video to be played? On all devices or this device only? I am going to click on all devices, and what will happen is that you'll have the opportunity to push play on your computer. Okay, so I wanted to play on all devices, and so I'll give you a little bit of time. The video is about 1 minute long, but the video is talking about how to start interacting with technology, and I'll play it for those that don't have Nearpod on theirs.
Baby steps? It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time. One tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
For instance, when you leave this office, don't think about everything you have to do in order to get out of the building. Just think of what you must do to get out of this room. And when you get to the hall, deal with that hall, and so forth. You see?
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Oh boy.
Baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps through the office. Baby steps out the door. It works. It works. All I have to do is take one little step at a time, and I can do anything.
I'll let some people finish watching the video because it's on each individual device if they want to. So if you haven't seen What About Bob, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But baby steps, doing little things at a time. If you are in my Nearpod course, you can answer this question. What is your greatest fear about using technology in the classroom? If you're not in it, if you could just put it in the chat. What is your greatest fear about using technology in the classroom? Not have enough devices for my class, that it won't work, that it breaks down, not being able to access it when I want to. Greatest fear is taking the personal touch out of my classroom. Kids need a human interaction. Kids accessing inappropriate content. I love using technology. Having it go down. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you, I've never used Nearpod before. Well, I've used Nearpod one time before, and the time I used it was last week on Friday or something, and I got into my presentation. I gave my 9-year-old a phone, I gave my 11-year-old my iPad, and I said, log in and let's see how it works. And I went through my presentation with them. And now I didn't do it exactly. I wasn't talking through. I was just clicking through to see if these types of questions would work with them. So I understand that it's the stress of it not working. And I get that. But one of the ways that, as I've been in hundreds of classrooms in this district, I've gone to other districts and seen things. But one thing that I've noticed is I can break down a great teacher into a not great teacher. Now, a not great teacher has many different levels. You know, there's adequate teachers and not adequate teachers, but I can break it down into one thing. When does the teacher hand out the papers for the assignment? And do you hand it out before you give the instruction? Do you give the instruction and then hand it out? Do you give the instructions while you're handing it out? But I've seen lots of teachers who have failed in this. And what I mean by failed is they've handed it out first, and then they've walked around, and by the time they get back, their papers are either crumpled up and thrown away, they're on the ground, they're paper airplanes. But guess what? They continue to hand out papers. They failed at it, but they continue to do it. They're just trying to get better each time they're doing it. And so what our goal should be is that if it doesn't work the first time, then we make adjustments and we move on. And so I have some ideas. Another question is, which one are you? Are you A, scared of using technology? B, not afraid of trying something new? C, get out of my way, I'm using technology? I guess those are your only choices. And I can share this with you. So if you, when you're on Nearpod, you can see the graph being made. I get lots of B's of, I'm not afraid of trying something new, which is great. Okay. Now, we might not be afraid of trying something new. Are we afraid of failing at it? And so, yes, we're afraid of failing at it. We're not afraid of, yeah. So, okay. And there are some that are C, get out of my way, I'm using technology. And that's a great way to be too. I'm going to share with you another video. This one's about 3 minutes long. And this is, I'm going to do all devices again, so you can just play it on your own device. And I'll play it on mine for those that are not in Nearpod.
Notice anything different about me?
No,
Do you sail?
no.
Well, I just picked it up. Wonder what I'm going to pick up next.
Try diving.
All right, diving.
I know a great teacher. I mean, my dad, he just dropped me in the water without warning me first. I mean, I nearly drowned. My whole life flashed before my eyes.
Well, you're lucky you're only 12.
It was still grim. I mean, what is it with him and diving? Or what's the big deal?
Well, whoa. He probably just wants you to beat it, that's all. You know, he probably just wants you to dive because you're afraid of diving. Did I tell you I sailed on my first try? I just let the boat do the work. That was my secret. But with diving, what's the thing? What's the trick?
I don't know. It's supposed to be easy.
Well, can you give me a handle on it? Thanks. Careful. Oh, careful. Careful.
Go to the edge. Come on, toes up, toes up. To the edge. Don't worry. Come
Right here.
on, come on.
Let's call this the edge right here.
Okay,
This is
let's
the edge.
step up to the edge. We're gonna walk up to our edge. Okay. Got you? Now bend your knees. Bend your knees. Very good. So bend your knees and stiff as a board.
Can I have forward?
Now lean forward.
All right, just a second. Don't rush it. Just a second. This is my first dive.
Okay. Lean.
Wait, I can't see what you're doing. Will you get in front? All right, careful. Hold it. Wait.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Now hold my shirt. I'll show you what we're supposed to do.
I got it.
Okay.
All right.
Bend my knees.
Bend your knees.
Lean forward.
Arms out straight.
Arms up.
Stiff as a board.
Honey, come here, look.
I don't want to have to see this. No, please.
1,
No.
2,
Don't do it, please.
3.
Yeah.
Very nice, Mom. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take it from here.
No, that's wonderful. Did you see me dive, Dad? Did you see me dive? I know.
Thank you. Excellent.
Now watch this. I'm gonna do it again.
I'll take it from here.
Did you see that? Here, I'm gonna do it
Thank
again.
you. Very nice.
I don't know if there's a better movie. What about Bob? And so one of the things also is that kid learned by doing. And my favorite book, because of the title, actually my favorite book title, I wouldn't say, but is Learning by Doing. And I think almost everybody in the district has that book because it's about PLCs. But he learned by doing and he learned by teaching. And so share with your team, try it out on your team. That's what I did with Nearpod is I shared it with my kids and said, let's see if we can do this and let's see what it looks like. And they showed me how to share videos and different things. Don't do everything at once, kind of like that first video of baby steps. And here's the reason why. Humans can only learn one thing at a time. We're talking about students, we're talking about teachers. You don't need to teach new material or new content and a new delivery system at the same time. So if you're going to try using Nearpod, use it as a review, something that you as a teacher feels comfortable with. The movie is What About Bob? And you can tell from the Game Boy that he was using that it was back in the 80s. But also with students, and I share this with learning expectations, learning routines, learning how to use technology. Don't have them learn a new concept and a new technology piece because it's not going to work. They're going to learn one or the other, and I'll tell you they're not going to learn it as well as you want them to. How do you do it? Practice something you're familiar with or that looks easy. Okay, baby steps. Okay, practice on yourself and practice on your team. Isn't it great that we have PLC teams that talk together once a week and you can say, hey, I want to try this technology piece. I've set it up. You guys log in as students. I'm going to log in as the teacher and let's see what it looks like. And so that's a great thing about having teams. And then don't give up. If you stop teaching every time something did not work, no one would make it past their first day of teaching. Okay, I remember, and I've seen lots of teachers, we've got these great plans for our very first day of teaching. And then it doesn't work and it doesn't go as well as we planned. But all of us are still teaching. And so, but you make adjustments and you change. It's the same way with technology. I would not recommend that on their first day of using a program that you have it set up for your whole class time. I would say that you introduce it for 10 minutes and you see what happens. Because if you make a mistake, that's only 10 minutes or, you know, it ran long or whatever. It's only a short amount of time. And so don't take a big chunk, just do little baby steps. Okay. Because you can't do everything at once. Okay. Now that you know how to use it, try something new. Okay. But if you don't know how to do it, Google it. I have a lot of teachers who will ask me, Dave, how do you do this? And I'll say, Google it. And my Google just turned on. But YouTube it. Okay.
I don't understand.
The other thing you can do is you can email me. And if I don't know, I'll go to YouTube and find out myself. And I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll tell you. Now, Jessica put on there, it takes second graders 10 minutes to log in. Yes, it does. And so the first day, what you do is you say, we're going to log in. And then you're done. You say, hey, that was great. Okay, now let's put everything away. Okay, let's try it again. Let's log in. Okay, let's put it away. And so you're training them. Using technology is the same way that you use expectations and procedures, but we seem to forget that. Even in my classroom when I was teaching, I would say, oh, we're going to use this thing. And I totally forgot. And so then I've got to answer all of these questions. Same way you teach expectations. Here's what you do. Okay, let's try it a little bit. Okay, give it back. Okay, here's what you do. Okay, give them little chunks at a time. But don't assume because you teach high school that kids know how to use Chromebooks, because they've never used it in your classroom with your expectations. So teach them as if they've never seen it before. Okay. Yeah. So Clark put on here, I used to use a stopwatch to see how fast they could log in as a class after doing a few practice times. The kids loved it. He taught PE, I taught math. The kids loved it no matter what you did. And it's a great idea. And say, okay, last time it took us this long to log in. Let's see if we can do it quicker. Oh, everybody's logged in. Perfect. We won. You don't even have to give them a treat. If you write it on the board and say, okay, tomorrow we're going to beat this time, they're competing against themselves. Oops. I'm in a motion censored room and my light turned off. Let's see if we can turn it on. Oh, there it is. Okay. So thanks for sharing that idea. But little chunks at a time. And if you started out at the beginning of the year and little chunks at a time, yeah. And so Wendy shared the idea about getting on Kahoot. That's another program that you can use. So do little things that you feel comfortable with, little things that maybe you've done somewhere else that you can implement in your classroom. Okay, here's a few technology no-nos. Okay. And a blue orange is still an orange. A worksheet is still a worksheet. A lame lesson is still a lame lesson. Okay. Just like at the beginning with Iron Man and Spider-Man, if you could do the same thing without the suit, why are you using it? If you could do the same thing without technology, why are you using it? Okay. Oh, ClassLink was mentioned in the chat. If you haven't done the Canvas training on ClassLink, it's amazing because you can show the kids how to log in. All of the programs are there. You can set it up so that your class can only see these apps or these websites. You can store files in there and then share it with your students so that they have access to those files. But a lot of you have done the Canvas course of how to learn Canvas. There's one also about ClassLink that will show you how to use ClassLink. I think it's a 2-hour course, but you'll still get paid for it. And so you can do that. But if you could do the same thing without technology, why give the stress of using technology? But we need to adjust it. And just like John Landis said, we've got to assess a different way. We've got to ask questions a different way. Okay. Consider what your activity would be without technology. If it's the same, then why use it? Okay. This is a similar thing. Tech, good or bad, just like an axe. Okay. Axes can be used for good and chopping wood for old ladies, or they can be used for bad. Okay. Information dump. Sometimes that's not the place to do that. Okay. Oh, with Nearpod, there is a training, and I just have to ask Carrie how much we can pay you to take it. So Tammy asked about a training for Nearpod. There's a training through Canvas that you can do on Nearpod, and it talks you through all of the things that I'm doing. I will make that available. I just have to ask Carrie because it has to do with money and you guys getting paid, and we want that. I just have to ask her how much she can pay you guys. Okay, technology tools. In the chat, because I set it up a different way, and guess what? Technology didn't work the way I wanted it to work. I wanted us to use Flipgrid, but it didn't work the way I wanted it to. So in the chat, could you just put in some of the technology tools that you've learned or that you want to know how to use, or what are some of the technology tools that you've learned in your class? Is Flipgrid okay? Absolutely it is. Loom is great for recording videos. I love it. Screencastify, same as Loom, just a different platform. Okay, Zoom, Edpuzzle, School City, Edpuzzle. Loom has been great, yes. Doceri, that's a great program. BrainPop as a resource. I have to look more into BrainPop because I know a little bit about it, but not very much. I want to learn Nearpod. Yes, I'll share that with you. Virtual tours. Will we be using School City this year? Yes. Soundtrap. I need to look into that to see what Soundtrap is. Civilizations AR. That's a great one. You've got lots of things if you have an iPad. Kahoot, Screencastify. I've wanted to learn Peer Deck, but it sounds like, yes, use Nearpod. Peer Deck. If you Google the difference between Peer Deck and Nearpod, there's a spreadsheet that comes up and you'll see the difference. ABC Mouse and Adventure Academy are not available. Like the district has not purchased license for those. So Kahoot, yes. Kahoot is a great one. I saw a teacher, it was amazing to me. I saw a first grade teacher using Kahoot. It was a math review. When the students were done, she printed out the report, handed it to her para that was in there, and she circled and said, I'm going to take these kids, you take these kids, they need help. The Kahoot probably took 20 minutes to do. The review took them about 5 minutes to do because it was more specific. It was the best use of Kahoot I've ever seen. I've always used Google Classroom till now. May I continue with Google Classroom this year? No. Google Classroom is actually not, in all of the reports I've read, everything I've seen, Google Classroom is not a learning management system. It's a dumbed down version of a learning management system. And all of the things that Google Classroom can do, Canvas can do 100 times better. Do you suggest quizzes or Kahoot? I would have to look into quizzes because I am not sure. Or is that quizzes with Kahoot? I'm not sure, but can Kahoot or something like that be done without devices like a QR printout or something? No, but there is one that is called, oh, if somebody knows, tell me. You hold up a card and you just scan it with your iPad and it will record everybody's score and it's multiple choice or true. Plickers, thank you. Yes, Plickers will do that, and you just print off a QR code individual for each kid, and depending on the way they hold it, will answer for them. Will Nearpod replace Peer Deck? The district has purchased, or the state has purchased Nearpod for the expanded version, and where Nearpod is, or I mean, Peer Deck is just the simple free version. Are we able to use News, ELAs, and ReadWorks? Let me look into that. Let me add to my to-do list. Oh, Quizlet instead of quizzes. Yes, Quizlet, I see, yes. Quizlet is similar to Kahoot. Okay. Oh. Can we use News, ELA, or ReadWorks? I will look into that. Quizlet is great too. Google Drawings. I follow a math group on Facebook, and one of the questions was, what can I do to have my students show their work so that I can see it for math, for online learning? Our math textbook, and I know this applies to some of you, not all of you, but our math textbook, you assign a certain page and everything they write on the screen shows up. And so you can do that. The other thing that you can do is you can say, okay, everybody in my class has a number 1 through whatever, and you set up a, it's on the next page. Oh, you set up a Jamboard and say, you are page 7. And so then they show all their work on page 7. Jamboard is an interactive whiteboard, and it's in real time. And so if kids have devices, They can write on there and it'll show up for you. You can, they can easily put in circles or whatever. So if you're in third grade and you say, okay, the problem is 4 times 3, make a picture of it. They can either draw 4 times 3 or they can pull in objects. So Jamboard is a good one. And Jamboard is a free Google product that you can use. All kids. Let's see, all kids that have writable devices. A tablet is a writable device if you have a mouse. So you can do that. Can you take a picture of their work with paper and pencil and put it on Jamboard? Absolutely, you can. Yes. You can take a picture of it. It's really, Jamboard's really easy. If you want a document cam, your iPad is way better, and using it with Jamboard, because you take a picture, it's automatically in there. Can they take a picture of their work and put it in Jamboard? Yes, they can. Yes, they can do it themselves. They can take a picture and put it right in there. Can you display kids' responses on Jamboard for the class to look at? Yes. So the teacher would have all these tabs open, and they would say, oh, I'm going to click on your tab, and then it would show it, display it to the class. They could have it on their computer and project it if they wanted to do that. So yes, you can do that. So Jamboard is just a whiteboard that you can write on electronically, and you could set up tabs, and each kid is assigned a tab. Each kid can look at different tabs, which to me is not a problem, because to me, if they're looking at somebody else's paper, it's to spark ideas. And if they're showing their work, then you can totally tell how they did it. Question, does all this assume we have Chromebooks in each classroom? How do we manage high school classrooms where the majority have smartphones, but some don't? So we wrote a grant, and so in 5 years, every student should have one-to-one devices that is assigned out to them. And so if you don't, like if some kids have smartphones and some kids don't, then you just say pair up with somebody who doesn't and work together. That's what I would do, because interactive classrooms don't just have one device to one person. They have one device and 3 people or 2 people working on it. Great questions. These are a few programs that the district that you have access to. I just took this picture right out of ClassLink. So Google Docs, use that because it's interactive. Google is where Jamboard is. GoGuardian, we kind of talked about. You can control where the kids are at on their computer. Lucidchart and Lucidpress. Lucidchart is a brainstorming tool that will, that kids can connect ideas with, they can collaborate, they can do lots of things. And then Lucidpress is like Adobe Illustrator. And so you can create brochures, you can create flyers, you can create lots of different things with Lucidpress. Most teachers right now use Lucidpress to create their own stuff for things outside of school, but you can have it embed into Canvas. I've got a teacher that uses Lucidpress and Lucidcharts in their classrooms, embedded into Canvas. So the kids click on it, it takes them, they create it, and then they assign it. So Lucidpress, those are free. They're through ClassLink. Flipgrid you can use. Nearpod is what I'm using. To answer some of the questions, is there a mini training on setting up and using Jamboard? Or would you suggest just YouTube videos? Right now, use YouTube videos. Yes. So in Jamboard, you have multiple different tabs, and I use it with my own kids. And one kid will do like, they draw a picture and I have to guess what it is. And one kid will be on tab 1, and another kid will be on tab 2, and another kid will be on tab 3. And I just click through and try and guess what it is. How do I connect my iPad to my projector? If you have an iPad, if they've given you an iPad, then you have access to the Reflector app. And iPad Reflector app shows what's on your iPad onto your computer, which is on your projector. Flipgrid is different. So Flipgrid, what Flipgrid is I can record I think it's up to 30-second video of myself, and then I can share it with my class, and then I can choose, they can share it back with the whole class or just share it with me. And so, so that's how Flipgrid works. It's kind of, if you use Marco Polo or Snapchat, it's kind of like that. I can send out a video, you can send a video back. So they're different platforms. They actually work together. Nearpod and Flipgrid work together. Flipgrid and Canvas work together, so you can do the same thing. Can we connect our personal iPad? I would have to look at that. Because I believe that if you're on Reflector app, they have to be on the same network. And so I don't know if the network, and actually it does. Yes, you can. Now that I think about it, you can. You can connect your own personal iPad. I use Flipgrid quite a bit during soft closure and liked it. Thanks, Tammy. Yes. Do we need to download the Reflector app on our district iPads? It is already in the self-service. If you have not clicked on the self-service app on your iPad, there's a lot of apps on there that the district has already purchased that you can just download. And the Reflector app is one of them. No, it's not. It's on your own PC. So on the school PC, you have to get the Reflector app, which will be in the software center if you have an iPad. If you don't have an iPad because you haven't updated your computer, you don't have access to the Reflector app because they keep purchasing new licenses every year. But if you have an iPad that the district has given you, if you go into the software center on your computer, the Reflector app is an option, and then you can do that, and then you just mirror it. I love Flipgrid for students, self-reflection on their own reading. Yes, that is great. They record themselves reading and then listen and watch themselves reading. There's no better feedback than self-feedback. So can we get a personal Echo Dot set up in our classroom? As of right now, no. There would have to be some justifications on why you would need that before we set that up. Yeah. So, okay. This session will be recorded. I know I talked kind of quick trying to answer all of the questions, but the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is don't try everything at once, okay? Try baby steps, try something, find a program that you want to try and see how it works. Do little bits, do 10 minutes at a time, and then you can expand it and you can get a little bit more and a little bit more. Don't do everything at once, because if you do everything at once, it'll crash and burn and won't be as good as you want it to, and then you'll have that fear. But just do baby steps, do little things, and share your ideas with your PLC. Once you share it with your PLC, then somebody else in your school is going to ask about it, and then it's going to be better, and more people are going to have ideas on how to use it. When I got my smartboard in my classroom, I didn't know how to use it. And what I did is I had the last 10 minutes of class, and I said, if you were working really well, you can go up and write on my smartboard for 2 minutes. And I would just write notes of what the kids did. Oh, when they pushed this button, this happened. Oh, when they did this, this happened. And so that I could learn from myself. And, but it was learning by watching somebody else do it. And so share ideas with your district or with your school, with your team, and things will get better. If you have questions on how to use apps in your classroom, how to do things, email me. If you have ideas of, this is a great app that I feel like either our school should purchase or the district should purchase, email me and I can look into those. Yeah, we were just talking about this. When are we getting rid of our smart boards? We were talking about this with the ed tech department and just saying it was the greatest thing at the time, and now there's other things. Can you tell me what your email is? david.blake@besd.net. Notability is a great app, and we are almost ready to buy that for the district. So everybody say hi to Leslie. There she is. She's one of our new ed tech coaches. What would replace your smart board? An iPad. So yeah, your iPad, because it connects right to your computer and you can walk around with it. It doesn't tie you to the front of the room. That's in the future. I mean, so don't be like, oh, I'm ripping down my smartboard right now. It still does a lot of great features. So yes, I still love having a smartboard. Yes. Yes. So Taylor will take all of the smartboards all the way around the room and have it. Do you have an app that can run your computer from your iPad? Yes, Reflector will do that. You can go from iPad to computer or computer to iPad. I love mine too. Yes. Okay. It's been great. This is a technology conference. Oh, change my computer. What do you mean change your computer? Wendy, I'll talk to you about that. Email me your question. How about unique apps for a department? Like, yes, email me and tell me what you want them for, because we can purchase a district license or a school license or a department license for an app. And it's, the more you buy, the cheaper it is per app, but we can do that. And then we can say, oh, if you teach this, then yeah, we can do that. So it's been great. This is the first time we've done online learning for our technology conference. I love seeing your faces more than I love seeing my own screen. So next year we're going to try and get this back face to face. So if you have questions, email me. I will answer them. Today I think I've had 230 emails. So if you emailed me today, might wait a little bit and give me a couple days. So have a great time. We're excited to have you back for school. And whatever that looks like, we're working through that right now.